Right, welcome back, guys. So tonight we've got myself, Matty, Kyle, and Greg, and we're joined by a special guest. We've got our boy Cam coming on, who's strength and conditioning coach of Billy Joe Saunders at the moment. He's currently out in Vegas, so he's joining us from across the pond. Cheers for coming on, mate.
Not a problem. It's nice to catch up with. It's been a while, eh?
Good to see you, pal.
It has, mate.
It's mate.
Been a while.
You're a bit busier than us, though, I reckon, but I don't know. So before we get going, Cam, we usually when we do interviews with people, we usually do a few sort of quick fire questions just to sort of get to know these people a bit better and that before we sort of get in depth. So obviously you doing strength and conditioning coaching and that you've worked with some professional footballers and boxers. We know you on a personal level playing football with us as well. So it's going to be sort of a mix between football and boxing, the sort of questions to get going. Obviously we are a football podcast, but we sort of move it over to a bit boxing today. Yeah. So first question, who's your favourite boxer of all time?
Oh, favourite of all time?
Yeah.
I would have to say Mayweather. Because
behave.
No, listen. For my era, and obviously growing up and that, seeing him, I could say about people in the past and that, but I didn't actually get to see them live or through the telly and that. So I think through growing up and actually watching them and seeing, obviously press conferences, training footage and things like that, I'd have to say Mayweather. But then obviously, if you ask me about previously, like in the past and that, you'll go down the lines of Sugar Ray Robinson, Sugar Ray Leonard, and all those kind of guys. But for my day and age, and obviously watching and growing up, it'd be Mayweather.
Not having it. I just can't stand it.
I agree. No, I know, but he's top draw, wasn't he? He's unbelievable.
It's the art of boxing, though, right?
Yeah,
I know he changed it behind the scenes, obviously with the money and things like that. But if you look at him at boxing level and just boxing only, he was phenomenal.
You've got to probably say he's probably the greatest sports businessman of all time as well.
And he changed the game, right?
And just a bit.
Yeah, 100%. Back to footy. Favourite footballer of all time?
Question.
Oh, wow.
You can mention any of us if you want. I know you've played with us. Feel free.
Playing or watching?
Both.
Yeah.
Go on.
He probably covers his eyes when he's fucking watching us.
Don't get your hopes up.
He's going to mention penalties for playing, isn't he?
Wow. The most awkward player to play against. And do you know, it was more of a. Do you know when with kids and things like that, when you're like watching over a kid and things like that, you're thinking, oh my God, are they all right? Like every time he was on a pitch, he was just suspect to like injury. And I'm thinking, oh my God, I just hope he's all right. Like the way he throws himself about on that.
Face first.
I think the best thing is when he got subbed on and subbed off in the first 5 or 7 minutes.
That's a game to him. Hold on a minute.
I was playing then, I remember.
His warm-ups were longer than his time on the pitch. Let's go. I'd go watching as well. Watching growing up, it'd have to be Zidane.
Oh, yeah.
Baller.
It'd have to be Zizou. Ones in the past, listen, we could probably talk about it all night and favourite players and obviously things like that. But yeah, definitely similar to the Mayweather question. Growing up, it'd have to be Zizou.
Yeah, I'll give you that. He was a joke.
Greg as well. Well, Carl as well, especially centre mid.
Well,
he's got the same planet.
I'll start crying.
What's your favourite childhood sporting memory? So whether that's personal or from following a team or a fighter or whatever, just a memory around sport.
It has to be growing up playing football with the team, going on buses, going on coaches and that, and having that team thing, but then doing and working to a level that you get to a final and playing with your friends and your family and that, watching. So something like that is special. Obviously, you have the bigger moments, but obviously that's one that means something more, especially growing up. You think, do you remember that time we played in a cup final? Remember when we was all together as friends and that? You could enjoy your football. You had your family on the side and that. So probably something little like that, I think it would be.
Fair play, mate.
The most meaningful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you could have been a pro boxer or a pro footballer and gone to the top level, what would you have picked?
Football's definitely easier. Put it that way. Definitely easier. I mean, you've got two completely different sports. Boxing, obviously, the highest of the highest, and obviously what they get an accreditation at from that is you know what I mean, it's everything. But being behind the scenes and seeing what the guys, girls go through in boxing and how they have to set up their training camps. With footballers, everything's laid out for them. Listen, you go to your training games, you've got your kit laid out, you've got your boots laid out, you've got your nutritionist laid out, you've got your S&C laid out. They just got to turn up. Boxers hasn't got none of that. You know what I mean? They've got their own management, obviously, that take care and look after that, but they've got to employ their team to go and set up a villa away from camp. And then in some cases that it gets 2-3 weeks out from a fight and then something falls out or something goes wrong, like one with a pandemic and two like through injury. So the whole show gets pulled. They've lost all their money through expenses and obviously what they've had to pay out. So it's a lot more riskier, but obviously the highs of the highest in boxing is just incredible. But in terms of easiest, it'd have to be football. Right? Especially growing up, and actually, I mean, growing up, I could speak for all of us. We wanted to play football, we wanted to play at a good level, you know. Carl obviously playing the highest of all of us, you know. Just what I do.
Because he's the tallest.
He saved us a few times.
Yeah.
Cheers, Cam. Thanks, mate. At least someone appreciates my team play. You know what I mean?
And the last one, which is, I'm angling for a sponsor here, really. So this is the one which we throw in every time. Marmite, love it or hate it?
Hate it.
Oh, Cam.
Hate it.
Oh, mate.
What? Not even with 90% butter, 10% Marmite.
Listen, you can have 99.9%, mate. That thing will not go nowhere near me. No chance.
On a fresh bit of bread. Oh,
You're like in a league of your own there, Cam. There's you and Seb Carroll, who played for Leeds, never heard of it before, and he tried it and he couldn't stand it.
Do you know what? I think as well, like my mum used to love it. And I think the smell of it in the morning with toast and things like that, it was off-putting. And I think growing up and going to school and smelling that, obviously, along with coffee, and I think, I could never, ever have that. But peanut butter for me all day long.
Mate, you need to get on the Marmite peanut butter.
I've got it in the same jar these days, mate.
Just leave it alone. Peanut butter, just fine.
Game changer, the Marmite one, mate.
Yeah, no chance. No chance.
So now we can get into what we're here for, mate. First things first, how did you get into strength and conditioning?
So I kind of fell into it. So I was always passionate in that growing up through sport, exercise, fitness and things like that. So when I come out of school, I wanted to go and do sports science. So I ended up going to college. And then growing up, obviously, my dad was a tradesman, and he said, look, you need to go and have a trade behind you. So I actually went to Nescott to do a plumbing course, a test for plumbing. And then I had my sports science. So I went and done a plumbing test, passed it. Yeah, you can start in September, or you can go and do sports science in September. And over the years and trainings and obviously days off, I go to work my old man in the building. I think, you know what, I can't do this. This is just not me at all. You know what I mean? I want to do something I'm passionate and I enjoy it. But then the old man was in my ear saying, no, you need to have a trade, you should have this. And I wish I did it to some degree, but then I kind of put everything into sports science, done that at college, moved on to university, and then obviously playing football and that on the side. And then originally I used to go boxing pre-season to keep fit for football. And as I started to get my qualifications and people started to know and understand it, I started to work with a few local boxers that were kind of low-level professionals at the time. They said, oh, look, we see you training and coaching. Do you mind helping us out with one or two things? And at the time, obviously, it was I've done a bit of boxing. I've done obviously a little bit of training. Yeah, sure, I can help you out a few things. And then kind of fell into it that way. And then from there, I think, since that happened, I think 3 years later, I ended up opening up the gym in 2013. And then just built and established from that. And that's the route I wanted to take. I enjoyed it. I was passionate about it. And for me, it was never, bloody hell, I've got to go to work today.
Yeah.
I've got to go and sit here. I've got to go and be a plumbing, bloody hell, I've got to go and clear out toilets, etc., all day long. Do you know what I mean?
Wrong with that?
So,
Drainage engineer fuming now. Look.
The way you used to turn up on Sunday morning still on call, that's what's wrong with it.
Covered in shit. Yeah. Carl, can you take the balls, mate? Now I've got a bag of shit in the back of the van. I can't have them. Cheers.
Oh, mate.
There was never any shit in there. I just didn't want to take the balls.
Fucking bro. Fair play to you, mate. Well, it's paying off, isn't it? It was a good choice in the end.
No, definitely. So kind of, yeah, I fell into it that way, but you know, I've never looked back since really. I just carried on progressing, obviously carried on doing the best I can, obviously upskilling, educating, and then just, yeah, going from camp to camp and obviously different athletes and different levels. But it's good to say that I've played and been there both myself on the footballing aspect and boxing. It's not like, oh yeah, because some, it's like, oh, have you ever done that? And I was like, well, that was my two most passionate sports I was interested in. It's not like a complete different domain of basketball that I've never ever done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it was nice in that aspect.
Yeah, 100%, mate. Go on, Greg.
Who was your like your into the boxing, mate? Who was the lower level boxers that you're talking about?
It was through Southern area level, and I was always good friends with Ricky Boylan. So Rick, there was a few others at the
Dan
time.
Connor?
Oh, Danny Cassius Connor.
Cassius.
Yeah. So Dan was obviously the same area. Dan actually come down to the gym and done a few sessions with us. But then I ended up working with a guy that beat Dan, and ended up working with another guy that Dan beat, and it was like a little triangle of affairs. So yeah, Dan's a good guy. I've known him for a long time, but I never actually worked with Dan on a one-to-one level. I would have liked to, because he was always against SSE. No, you can't lift weights. You just got to do a little bit, and don't want to get too big and too bulky in that. But it's that old school mentality.
Throwback.
You know? Yeah, definitely.
Well, that sort of takes us on to like one of the main reasons I wanted to chat to you really about this was like modern sport has just evolved massively in the last sort of decade even, and obviously even before then. But like you see how much even football, like the game has changed hugely. You see that all the players wearing their trackers all the time with their little sports bras. So how much have you sort of, since you've even been doing it, how much have you seen sport and strength and conditioning side of things develop, like both in the boxing world and football? And how much more like is it going to develop in recent years as well, like with technology coming into it as well?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, listen, S&C has been there for a long time, but you're just hearing a lot more about it now, and obviously how people can benefit from it. And obviously the social media aspect in that as well, and people are throwing things up there left, right, and centre. Everyone's becoming more acknowledged to the fact of S&C that you need it. But S&C's been there for a long time. It's been there for a long time. In England, we're a hell of a long way behind the USA and what they do and how their teams are introduced to it from a young age, and obviously their ability as a one-to-one athlete and that as well. So we're kind of playing catch up to them. So I know that firsthand from obviously working out here last year, and obviously this year we're a lot further down the line than them.
Is that like across the board out there as well?
Yeah,
really,
definitely. I mean, we go running around a local park near us here, and Terry, I promise you now, there's 10 football pitches. You've got like grass pitches at this end, then it goes to 4G, then it goes 3G, then you got like your just average playing, and you see all these guys and girls that you got girls that are under 10s. And they're doing warm-ups with the vest on already. They're doing things that with their scientists and that with their data and things like that. They're all team track suited up. They're everything. You know what I mean? They're doing everything down to a T. They've got their bands. They're doing all their warm-up stuff already. You know, you go to a park and that near. It's one of them things though. It's like, listen, they're 10 years old. They should be learning just to enjoy the game and play it. They don't really, do they really need to be concentrating so much on that? Maybe, maybe not. Do you know what I mean? So, but I think in terms of your question, I think S&C's been there for a long time, but just as we become more social media orientated and you're seeing things out there, we're starting to understand a little bit more about it.
Yeah.
And the benefits that it can have for boxers, fighters, athletes in general.
It's mad you mentioned that about like in America how different it is. I remember when I was a kid, like playing football, we played in this tournament. Our team got selected to be one of the teams that represented England in this like little mini international tournament. It was hosted by Arsenal. And
name dropping now.
Yeah. And
I played for England. Yeah, I played for England.
And we ended up getting to the final. Yeah, we was only like 10 or 11 or something silly like that. We got to the final of our like bracket that we was in, our age group, and we played this American team in the final. I remember all of us going into it like quite cocky, thinking they don't even know about football. Like we're going to spank this lot. And no word of a lie, mate. They all rocked up, like you said, fully tracksuited up. They were like a professional outfit, and they was all like 6'3". Big they were like grown men, and it was like and they spanked us. Like they probably beat us like 7 or 8. Like it was like playing against grown men, and but they was all like our age in that, and it must come from that. They were just developed. Like
There's levels, isn't there? There's levels, and I think where they introduce it at such an early age, they don't know no different. And obviously, if you're introducing that at an early age, it can only obviously get better and better for them.
That's it, mate.
But then you look at that as well, and then you go to look at go and compare an MLS to the Premier League. I know obviously money speaks bundles, you know what I mean? But you look at that kind of level of aspect of things like that. But I think over here in America, they're more about developing the overall athlete rather than just that one person.
Yeah.
You know?
It's like scholarships though, isn't it? Like what, you know, they don't really exist over here. You know, you hear a lot of it about in America, and people from abroad getting scholarships if they want to and then go to America. And then it's, as you say, their setups. And this is from a young age, like you can get the scholarships and that. And it seems very professional from a young age. Whereas over here, we ain't got them facilities. We don't have them big fuck off like universities and that, what they have. And,
well, college sport's huge there, isn't it? They've like 100,000 fans at a college football match.
Yeah. I mean, they're dwarfing like even like the championship and stuff like that just for attendance. Like, and it's a college football.
Yeah,
you know, that's the difference. Like, you know, like it's mental how it can be like that over there for that.
Yeah, it is, mate. Matty, go on, mate.
Oh yeah, just touching on like the difference between like the Americans and the English. There seems to be, even from watching like athletic, I was banging to athletics when I was young, and there seems to be a much more emphasis on togetherness with the Americans and, you know, go team type thing. Whereas I think definitely. The UK is more set from, this is just from my personal point of view, from what I've noticed, it's more focused on the individual rather than the team. Would you say that's correct to a degree?
I think, yeah, and I think ego and pride has got a lot to play in it as well.
Yeah.
You know, and I think where, like you just said, and like Greg just touched on, we, like down the road from us, we've got a college, but they got a stadium. And oh my, like they was training there the other day. You should have seen the layout and training. They had the cheerleaders on one side. They was only just training, and half of the stadium was packed just watching them train. Unreal. It's like a summer's day. It's a summer's day. There's a motorway, like left, right, and centre. Cars going around all the time, and it's nearly packed out. It's not even a game. It's just a training place. And these guys are just college athletes.
Yeah.
So anything they do, they take it. They do blow it up and take it to extreme levels, but they do things to a certain level that everything follows behind.
Yeah.
You can see why they've had so many high-profile, top-notch athletes, like at world level, like at all sports. I mean, it's only a matter of time, surely, before America or USA, in like a football aspect or soccer, as they call it.
Yeah,
I can see them being one of the world's best in the next few years. I mean, you might disagree with that, but I think with the resources, the technology, and the know-how and what they put into it, it wouldn't surprise me if they slowly start creeping up towards the top. But yeah, open for debate. But that's my personal.
It's an interesting one.
I think they're definitely playing catch up. You obviously look at what Beckham's trying to do down in Milan.
Yeah,
Milan. What am I talking about? In Miami. Look what he's trying to do, and obviously who he's trying to bring out here. I think it's definitely one for the fuure.
Well, they've got Ryan Shawcross now, so the world's their oyster.
Yeah, no, right.
And Phil.
Snapping legs, yeah.
And Phil, yeah.
They're going to generate some absolute beast defenders now. How much does like the S&C change and vary for each like individual athlete and each sport as well? Like, for example, when you're working with like Billy Joe Saunders and when you're working with, say, Charlie Edwards in the boxing side of things, do you go into both fighters with a similar sort of outlook, or is it complete different ball game for different weights, different like body shapes and all sorts? And same with the football side of things as well.
So definitely you got to do like an assessment of needs, must, and demands. Do you know what I mean? How long have you got? First things first. What we currently like going into camp. So you set out some testing protocols, and then you got to have that. You got to have that feedback from the athlete as well, and obviously be a bit of a people's person to speak to them, to understand them, what they're going through, because they've got a lot of stresses on themselves. So each camp is different. You got to imagine, obviously, you've gone from Charlie, who's been a flyweight, to like a super middleweight, and then obviously onto a heavyweight. So the programs are completely vary. Obviously, Charlie might need to work on a certain aspect longer than Billy might do, or Joe might do, or someone else. So first things first is drawing up some numbers, seeing how they get on, putting them through some movement screening and things like that, and starting to develop and build a plan. But then obviously also you go into camp as well. Is it more performance camp, or is it more of a fat loss camp? How far are you away from fighting weight? Obviously, what's the deal with your nutrition? Obviously, getting down into that aspect of things. So then we kind of draw things out, and then we kind of build in like a table and a program developed on those needs and those musts and those demands moving forward.
Yeah.
But every camp's different. I'd love to say, yeah, we only do this and we only do that because it make my job a hell of a lot easier. But that's the beauty of the sport. You know?
Probably makes it more interesting for you as well that it changes though, doesn't it?
Yeah, do you know? And that's what going back to the start is every like for me, it's not work. It's different. Do you know what I mean? It's challenging. Do you know what I mean? If you like any of us now, if we used to go and do the same thing every day, we're going to get bored of it in time. It's like football, right? If the game was always the same, then we're always going to, this is, do you know what I mean? It's going to start to factor out. But that's what makes it interesting.
I still adore a beer and a takeaway.
Not bored of that yet.
Never got bored. No.
Gone from one.
With regards to the boxing and the football, does it because a boxer can like obviously have quite a while between fights and whatnot, and if they choose to, they can let go and what. But like footballers, where they only get that set off like pre-season, that little bit of time off before pre-season like starts again, they're never really out of shape. Not too much. So like the obviously difference is there that the fact that you're working if you're working with a footballer, they're pretty much on shape. They should be in shape pretty much all the time. Whereas it can vary obviously with the boxers. Maybe not every boxer's like that, do they? That they don't always come out of shape, but there must be some that you may have worked with that are like that.
No, absolutely. And I think obviously downtime is one of the most important things as well. But you look at the games obviously with players, how many games that they're playing over a space of, I don't know, like the Christmas period or cup competitions and then or international duties. And then you go to an elite level fighter who might fight twice a year, you know. Yeah. But then like I said just not too long ago, is about when a fighter sets up his camp, he's in camp for that solid 10 weeks and it'd be pretty relentless day in, day out, obviously, give and take. And then after it, they might not be fighting for 3 or 4 months. But one of the most important messages is to try and stay consistent. Do you know what I mean? And obviously, certain fighters have been found out in the past where they've blown up too much, and then they get an opportunity popped up, and oh my god, I've got 4 weeks. But straight away they're going into 4 weeks of absolutely hell, killing themselves. But yeah, I'll be able to do it, not a problem. Absolutely. Do you know what I mean? And we've seen that over the past. I think like you look at, I love him to pieces and what he's done for the sport, but look at someone like Ricky Hatton. Do you know what I mean? In between massive fights and how big he's got and how much he's got down to weight and that.
He used to put about 4 stone on, didn't he?
Drinks Guinness. That's why, isn't it? Loves a Guinness.
And a fry up every day, don't know.
I think he drinks anything and everything, right?
And a bit of karaoke in between.
Love him.
Yeah.
Do they have days off? Do they have days off? Do they have days off? Like even though in camp now, would they have a day off where like Billy might be able to have something, whatever he wants?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's kind of my job and that. So when I come in, like we'd set up we structure an organization, because no matter who you are, no matter what you are, listen, boxers, fighters, MMA fighters, whoever you want to say, everyone trains hard. Everyone's always training hard. There's no one that can just take it easy for a couple of days and they just coast through training. Every single one of them trains hard. If anything, it's more about training smart, you know, because they push themselves hard every single day. But then when's the down day? You can't go hell for leather every single day. Something needs to give. If it doesn't, then something's going to slowly start to break down. So that's when my job comes in to be smart with the training and obviously speak with the team and say, look, we're trying to push it on this day. So that means our day here, we need to pull it back a little bit. So we give and then we take, we give and then we take. You got to know when to pull and when to push. Don't get me wrong. Some days it's gonna feel like hell, but then you got to get through those bits, and then it's a matter of like systematically, progressively overloading. Mm-hmm. But then that comes within time. But absolutely, listen, there's days off. I've made sure that there's days off in this camp. It needs to be. Yeah.
That must be dangerous with Billy Joe and Tyson having a day off. Jesus.
Do you know what? They're both on their job. We was running with him last night, and he's in good shape already. He's running.
Oh, Tyson.
For a guy of his size, and I was surprised how fast and how quick he could run.
Really?
Yeah, mate. He's for him here. It's all a challenge. He's exactly the same as Billy. Like mentally, there's always a challenge. Oh, I can carry on. You know.
He puts in a lot of road work. Like obviously, I follow him quite sort of closely on like social media and that. And he's always out running in that constantly. He seems to put in like a lot, and like you said, for a guy of his size, you wouldn't think that'd be something that he'd be doing a lot of. You know what I mean?
Do you know what? Right between us, so the first time I've met Tyson a couple of times previously at shows, and the first time I met him properly was when he was in the gym, and me and Billy are going for our warm ups, and obviously trying to do things the right way, rolling, stretching, moving, banding, and things like that. And then Tyson just bowls in and says, "Nah, load of shit." He wraps up, gloves up, boom, he's gone straight away. He's on the bag and that. And do you know, he looks $1 million. And then, but that's just his way of going about doing things. And as it's gone on, we've slowly started to say why, and then he's started to ask a few more questions. But for him, like the old school mentality, and obviously the old school boxing, just boom, straight onto it.
Yeah.
And obviously, look, who am I to say like, no, mate, maybe try and do this and look at him. Do you know what I mean? Like, mate, you tell me what warm up we need to be doing.
It's true, isn't it? Yeah. We'll come on to Tyson and when we talk about Billy in a bit, mate. When we get through this, but Matty, go on, mate. You had a thing.
Yeah, just quickly there, touching on like the different sort of training and that. Like, it's always fascinating me boxers from the mental and physical aspect. How mentally strong you must have to be to operate at that level. Just fascinates me, to be honest. Like to get in the mindset of someone like Tyson or Billy, that they know that the top level of the game. I mean, that's years and years and years of constant work. I mean, you see things like that on a daily basis. What's it like to manage something like that?
Do you know what, for me, and I'll always say it and I'll always ask questions. I won't ask questions directly to the point of that, but that's the most important thing for me. Because obviously if this isn't right and you're going into certain things of certain demands of training, you're just going to kind of get through it. We're not even thinking too much about it. So for me, it all starts within here. So I mean, mentally, it's a huge part, because you look for someone that's mentally a bit more vulnerable when things don't necessarily go to plan. How are they going to react to it? Yeah. So mentally, the guys, lucky enough that I've worked with, are all very mentally strong and switched on. And don't be wrong, listen, everyone has good days and everyone has bad days, but it's how you can kind of adapt and overcome those situations that ask obviously a lot more questions about your mental side of things. Because physically we just crack on and get on with it. Yeah, they're not a problem. But obviously, if you don't really know someone mentally and what they're kind of going through, and you think as well, some of the guys, obviously the biggest fights of their career, but they've also got to make weight. They've also got a family at home. They've also got other things going on, other work, mental, the media and things like that as well. And it's all gonna come from here. Yeah. So to try and get this switched on and that, it's a hard thing, but then you can slowly start to incorporate little conversations, little chats, little questionnaires that you can incorporate into it to find out a little bit more about the athlete, and not necessarily the athlete, but the person themselves. You know, listen, they're a person at the end of the day, and they're very good and very highly skilled at their job. Do you know what I mean? If you don't treat them, I know you're an athlete, you got to do this and that, but how's things, mate? So how's the kids? Like, how's everything back home? And then you start to build do you know what I mean? You start to build a relationship that way. Sure.
Definitely, mate.
Do you get more time to do that with the boxers and like the footballers and that you've worked with? Is that only like a one-to-one session with the footballers, right? And then you obviously get more time in camp and that with.
Oh, absolutely. Do you know, like obviously when you're away on camps and I'm working with them, sometimes you stay with the boxers. Like I've been in camp now for the last 9 to 10 weeks now. So obviously you learn a hell of a lot more about a boxer. But then when you come to things of footballers, it's only really when you get a bit more of an alone time that things start to open up and build that relationship. Because look, when I'm working with a footballer, I've got his manager one side, I've got a team of people like the camera that side. So you can't really say like, you just got to get on with it. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to ask them questions, put them in a situation thinking, don't ask me that in front of them. Do you know what I mean? So that comes on a bit more of a trust and a bit more long term. But not footballers, it's a lot more harder, and obviously where certain days and times that, look, can we do sessions here and there, and obviously pre-season that, and then pre-season you start to open up a little bit more because you've got a bit more time with the footballers.
Yeah. Go on, Matty.
Just another quick question with regards to that, like your relationship with the athlete. Do you find it hard to mix the two between the professional aspect and the kind of friend aspect?
Yeah, I don't find it hard because obviously I've been there and done it quite a bit now. I think maybe at the start of my career and that, and it's like you wanna have that relationship with them that you feel like a friend, but then when it comes down to work and that, listen, this is what we're doing, this is how we're getting on with it. Do you know, and you and for me, like I never lose sight of professionalism and being in the gym and getting from A to B.
Yeah.
You know, you've also got to always set standards high. And sometimes you gotta know when to have a little laugh and a joke, but then sometimes when to try and rein it in a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
You know. And at the end of the day, like, listen, I'm employed here to do a job, and for all these camps and that, like, I can't make excuses because you're too busy messing around in Las Vegas Strip or something like that. You know.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Touching back on the footballers, mate, like, because like again, we are like a football podcast, so sort of got to touch a bit on it. But you've worked with Michael Antonio, Ruben Loftus-Cheek, Theo Walcott, probably loads of others that I'm not aware of as well. Are you still doing stuff with footballers, and have you got any in the pipeline, or are you just all in on boxing now?
Yeah, no, it's still in the gyms with footballers and that. It's very in terms of the footballers, it's very limited to obviously some of the bits that you can put out there, because obviously clubs and organisations and contracts and things like that. So it's nice though but you've got that little bit of you step away from that side of things, and my is solely dependent on me and you and our time in the gym together, not about what I can chuck out on social media.
Yeah,
you know, obviously you're employing me to do a job, so let's do that first. So yeah, work with a few guys through the pandemic. Got a few guys now that are going in to see some of the team whilst I'm away, and a few guys booked in for when I get back as well. So it's still always, to be fair, lucky enough that I've always been involved with football and boxing. It's only obviously sometimes in season, like when the demand's very high with their teams and clubs, that we don't really work together. But then when there's a bit more time together, then we can start to open up a little bit.
Yeah,
it's
fair play, mate. And now sort of bringing us back into boxing. So there's untold names, mate. Like we've already mentioned, you're in with Billy at the moment. You've had Charlie Edwards, Kevin Aguiarco, Joe Joyce, Lerone Richards, loads.
Yeah.
How is obviously going into this massive fight, mate, coming up in a couple of weeks' time now? Billy Joe Canelo Alvarez in Texas. How's preparation going? And like, when does it all sort of start petering out? And is he going to be peaking? Sort of like, how does that sort of come about? And like in the next sort of week or so?
Yeah. So right now we're currently a week and a half out. So now our tape, a deload starts to come into play as of today and as of tomorrow. So all the hard work now is done. It's done and dusted. Really,
is there any more? Sorry to butt in, mate. Is there any more sparring involved now, or is it just sort of just working?
No sparring now. It's all done and dusted. Yeah, everything. All the game plans all set. All the boxes have been ticked with the boxing coach and myself and that. And now it's just making sure that everything's comfortable. Everything's at the right point of where we need it to be. But in terms of the camp previously, the camp's been great. There's a bit, as you know, Billy, a bit of a joke and a bit of a lad and things like that. A bit skeptical coming into camp and that, but he knows that the caliber of this fight is huge, and obviously what he can do, and we all support him. We all know what he can do, and we see it day to day in the gym. It's just now to obviously go and show the world, and obviously show the people that haven't seen that stuff. You know. So yeah, it's gonna be a great night.
Yeah, I can't wait. I know all the boys are the same. It's one that sort of, when it was announced, it got the juices flowing, mate. It's a massive fight.
Let me ask you guys a question. What's the predictions?
I'll go in first. It's a weird one.
Listen, no sitting on the fence.
No, I ain't sitting on the fence. Personally, I reckon Billy Joe wins a decision, but this is actually something I would like to sort of ask your opinion on as well. Is he going to get a decision in Texas on a Canelo card, Cinco de Mayo weekend? He's going to have to win it very convincingly. Golovkin beat him in their first fight, in my opinion, and he's getting nowhere near a decision. So I think it's a tough one, but to be honest, I don't think anyone about can put Canelo away. If he can take punches off of like your Golovkins and Kovalevs, it's going to be a hard task to put the guy away. But I think Billy's boxing IQ and skills and movement, I think he can school him. I really do. I'll let the boys put their opinion out as well. Go on, Matty.
Oh wow, this is gut wrenching to even say, because I have allegiance, camp allegiance to Billy Joe, but I just don't see anything other than Canelo winning on points. That's my personal opinion. I'd love to see Billy Joe beat him, but I don't see him knocking him out. But who am I? I'm just the average Joe fan watching the fight, and you guys probably know more about boxing than me. But I'm praying for a Billy Joe win, but I don't see it. If you ask me what I'm saying Canelo's going to win on points.
Fair play, Jonesy.
Yes, I'm pretty sort of the same as Matty, but I want the Billy Joe win so much. I just want to go for Billy Joe, but it's a fucking tough fight. I mean, like you've all said, it's only going to be on points. I think I can't see him.
I feel bad
knocking out Canelo,
but you.
No, yeah,
boxing, but isn't it?
Yeah.
Listen, I do. Like I said to you off air cam, the shape that Billy Joe's in, I don't think I've not seen him. Like, he looks fucking well, mate. And
yeah, he does.
And I'm just thinking, he's got a chance, and I think if he can go, he's got the heart, he's got things like that. So just go for it and just do it. Do it.
Goring.
I don't. Do you know what? If there's anyone that can do it, it would be him.
Yeah, agreed.
And with what Tyson done in the last fight, as in worked on his strength and worked on the knockout game, if they've got a similar little thing going on, and with Tyson being there in his ear, he might be going for that knockout. Like, personally, that's what I'm thinking. The tactics are go for the knockout, because
there's absolute scenes if that happens. By the way,
well, like what Terry's saying is likelihood of a decision, not very likely. So, is he going with the same tactics as what Tyson did against Deontay?
The other thing before, because I'm going to ask you now, Cam.
Cam's smiling, but he's not going to tell you.
I know, but I've got to ask him now if he's thrown it on us. The other thing before I go to you is, I feel personally that Billy Joe raises to the opponent. He's been in with people sometimes that ain't really on his level, and he coasts and he doesn't really look his best. And some people go, he ain't that good, blah blah blah. But like when he fought Lemieux in Canada, like, he's absolutely schooled him, and people were fucking scared of Lemieux at the time.
And he went to his backyard as well.
Exactly. Like, so, like Greg said, if anyone's going to do it, it's Billy at that weight. But what's your prediction then, Cam?
I'll show you May the 8th. May the 8th. We'll see.
Touche.
Yeah, May the 8th.
I have to add that I pray that he does win, but I don't know. It's so tough to call. It's extremely difficult to call it.
So Bill, by the way, if you are watching this, when you see this, and when you've got the titles, mate,
sorry, Bill,
don't let Matty and Kyle get a photo with you with it. Me and Greg are involved.
Hold on.
All
we said is going to be a win.
Get out of
it. All we
got
said
asked for a prediction, and we gave the prediction.
Backtrack.
I'm not backtracking. I'm sticking by what I said.
Yeah.
What is, so now back to sort of like the camp at the moment? What is a standard day in camp like, and how does it sort of change throughout from sort of day one to now? But a generic day, like, how does it from waking up to going to bed at night? What's a day look like in camp?
A generic day is everyone's, obviously every fight is,
we're different, and every camp's a little bit different as well. So it depends. Can you guys still hear me?
I can hear you, yeah, but I think there's sat on in the background or something. Hey!
Oh my Lord!
Yes,
wow.
What's happening, mate?
Wow!
How are you, mate?
Les, hold the line. 2 minutes. Let me call you back. Yeah.
Oh my Lord!
Talking about.
You must
talk about Love it, Bill.
We was all unanimous just now saying you're going to smash him, May the 8th. All right.
How's things going, mate?
How we going, lads? Good, you?
Yeah, really well. Thanks for coming on, mate. I'm real.
Put your head down, top left.
Who's top
Nice
left?
hair. Nice
You,
hair.
top
Yeah,
knot.
you. What's your name? TF.
Terry.
Terry. Oh yeah. Matthew, Terry. Carl, you're as fuck, mate.
I've got the Cam special, haven't I?
Gory, you got to take the hat off, mate.
Me and Bill would have a debate.
Debate. Come on.
Listen, Bill's treating us to a 2-for-1 in Turkey.
Come on, look at that. Look at this lovely hair.
Oh, hello. Bill's still got a little bit there. He's got-
How we going, lads? How's things?
yeah,
Good,
blinding,
thank
mate.
you.
Your ears must have been burning.
Nah, mate, no, I'll just come down and make a coffee and I'll see Candice. I thought he was on some sort of porn website or something like that.
He is. I have to put my tits away when you come on.
Oh wow.
That's it. He's got it. Tops off.
Yeah.
What sort of meeting is this? I ain't intruded.
No, not at all, mate.
No, mate, we're talking about the strength and conditioning of you, mate, to be honest.
Yeah.
Good man.
The boys have done a football podcast, but they've incorporated a bit of boxing in that.
Yeah.
And then Tel's been rolling some questions. So Tel, what you done to me? The quick fire questions. What could you do to Bill?
Yeah, all right. Yeah, we'll go through that. Have you got 5 minutes or something, Bill?
Well, where you go? Go on.
Yeah. Right. So, first one is, who's your favourite boxer of all time?
Manny Pacquiao.
Yes.
Joint Manny Pacquiao, Joe Calzaghe, but people say because I'm a southpaw, but I love the both.
We'll have that. It's better than Cam's one. He's gone with Manny Mayweather.
He's got the tracksuit. Has he showed you the tracksuit he's got?
Oh no, he ain't. No, what is that?
Yeah,
Cam? Is that why
Have you not
you?
seen him? Yeah, mate. He's got the money team tracksuit over. Honestly,
Pure
Flares it.
velour, is it?
Oh, mate, I'll get him to put it on. We'll get a picture of you.
I don't know how into football you are, Bill.
I am into football.
He's a big gooner.
I am a gooner, to be honest.
Oh, what a guy.
Don't tell me no one's Tottenham here.
Nah, you're all good, mate.
But listen. That's all right. As long as you're not Tottenham, that's good.
So who's your favourite footballer of all time?
Thierry Henry.
Thierry Henry, yeah, that was
Can't go wrong there, mate.
Come on. The
great,
king.
isn't it?
The king.
Next one was, what's your favourite childhood sporting memory? So it can either be a personal one or like as a fan of a fighter or a club or whatever.
Do you know what? Probably as a child, the first thing I ever did, I used to play for Essendon Primary School because I only went to primary school on the football team. So I've got to say, I remember going straight there and scoring a hat-trick first game. I was a pretty decent player, to be honest. But then I stopped playing and this went terrible. Better as Cam now.
What was your position, Bill?
I was striker, mate. I was striker.
You're
Was you left
or
peg as
right?
well?
Yeah, I was going to say.
If you trust me, I kid you not, serious striker.
Yeah?
I used to play for a Sunday league team as well in Lemstead.
No way.
Yeah, but it got a bit dangerous in the end, and I was in more fights than everyone else on the team.
Oh, God. Imagine that being the centre half steaming into Bill.
No, thanks.
I wasn't that strong on the ball, but I was just a little bit sharp. But I was very fit, running up and down, you know.
Are you right-footed though, aren't you?
I'm right-footed, yeah.
Are you really?
Yeah, and right-handed.
I was going to say, because, like, obviously you're a southpaw, but not all southpaws are left-handed. So, like, how did that come about?
Do you know what? I don't really know. When I was a little kid, I got started by a trainer called Tommy O'Neill, and I was only about 5 when I started, and he used to give me a $5 every session to go orthodox all through the session. So I try it just to get my $5, and when he wasn't looking, I'll just go back southpaw. But I was naturally just southpaw.
It's weird, isn't it?
Yeah. All my 3 sons are southpaws.
Are they all left-handed?
2 of them's right-handed, and the youngest son's left-handed and left-footed, and my little girl's left-footed as well.
Unreal. Are any of them planning on punching Canelo in the bollocks this weekend? Or?
No. Do you know what? If I could get them out, I'll get them to punch Eddie in the bollocks. Just said that.
Poor old Ed's getting it left, right, and centre. I love it. I see you and Tice hammering him earlier.
He's a wanker.
Listen, like I say, you back your own, didn't you? You never go against your own. If you stick to your word, I'm a big believer in that. Like I say, if I stick to my word on something, I stick to it. I never run back on it or go on it. I'll see it through. You know, good or bad, I always go through. So it's nice to see your own backing your own as well. But
100%, mate. Yeah. And this is a big one, mate. Marmite, love it or hate it.
It all depends what sort of diet I'm on, to be honest with you. Sometimes shit tastes good. So I'm going to say love it at the minute. I would love Marmite at the minute. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well done. That's what I like to see.
I'm all over that. What is your like? What's your diet saying at the moment? What are you allowed to have? Is Cam sort of?
Do you know what? I'd say that my diet at the minute has been In-N-Out burger and other bits and bobs and pastas and a load of shit. Now dieting, listen, the dieting for me at the minute, the weight's more or less done. So it's not for the case that I'm not eating, but it's just for the case of like what you got to eat is all clean. Who likes eating clean stuff? Do you know what I mean? When I'm not in camp, I eat everything. I'm like a pig. I eat everything and anything. But it's possibly been like fish, rice, and other bits and bobs, isn't it? Really, all to maintain and fuel me for training. So basically, put fuel in the tank, and so but we all know what sort of food that is. It's not very good, but it's part of the job.
Too right, mate.
Yeah, it'll all be worth it in the end.
Yeah,
will be.
You said about like your weight's nearly there, and that. How much do you have to cut, or if at all, going into the week of the fight?
I don't think I'll have to cut anything, to be honest with you. I think
Really?
that I'll be waking up on the weight this time. I think I'll be waking up around on the weight, if not a pound or so. But it's been a long camp. We've been away for a long time. We've been to Spain, obviously. Then we've been on 3 weeks, Cam?
4 weeks.
4 weeks. You know what I mean? I'm even lost with the weeks. 4 weeks. It's weird because a lot of people, everybody's give up so much for this for this camp. Obviously, you got Mark, you got Cam. His missus expecting a baby. So everyone's give up so much and put so much into this camp. It's one of them that winning's the only option, nothing else, to make it worth it for everybody.
Too right, mate. Yeah. What's the UFC Performance Institute been like for you out there? What's the facility saying?
Do you know what? Cam mentioned it a couple of times, and I was thinking, yeah, it can't be like he was explaining to me how good it is, but until you actually get in there, it's just surreal because everything you can imagine in a gym, everything as a boxer. Normally, like if you're a boxer, you go into the gym, you think, it's good, but I ain't got a ring. It hasn't got that machine, or hasn't got. I haven't seen anything they haven't got.
Really?
Yeah. They've got absolutely everything. And do you know what the funny thing is? They're still not happy. They're changing stuff and getting all new stuff. And I'm thinking, well, what more? I've boxed all my life, and I've never seen a gym like it. And really, thank all the staff and everybody there because they've helped us out a lot. To be honest with you, fucking hell of a lot.
That's unreal.
I see you running in that pool. Does the floor move?
It moves, yeah.
Yeah,
it's a treadmill. It's an underwater treadmill. It's
What's that like?
It's good. It's good.
Hard work.
Do you know what? It saves all your joints and other bits and bobs. When you get out of it, I was running that for a little bit, and then I went for a run outside, and I was like, dump running down the road. Like I mean, like I felt good. It's good though. But they got everything you need there, from strength, from everything we need for the strength and conditioning, from everything we need from the massages, recovery, boxing. They got everything there.
Unreal, mate.
But, it's a big business UFC's got, and I think it's a clever way how they've set it up.
Are you a fan of the UFC?
Do you know what? I wasn't really, but getting to see all the fighters in there now, you sort of like. You're chatting to them, all going for the same thing, training camp, away from the family. You get chatting, and I've sort of bought a little bit of an interest in it.
Yeah.
I'm starting to get into it a little bit more. But that's the same with anything. If you don't really watch it, until you watch it, you don't really know. And I watched it the other day, and I'm just starting to get into it now. Especially, like I say, when you're chatting to these fellas, how much weight you got to go, and then they're fighting the weekend. You want to tune in and watch it. So I'm becoming a bit of a fan, to be honest.
Too right, yeah, 100%, mate. Another one. Have you played? Because I know you're a fan of a prank as well, Bill. Have you played any on cam while you've been out there?
No, I haven't really. I think the only thing I did do was I hid his wig up. His wig went missing for a couple of days, and no one's seen him.
It's on his face. It's on his face somewhere.
Mate, he's got a serious beard, isn't he?
Yeah,
it's unreal, mate.
He's got a serious beard going on, I must say.
You're catching up. You're catching up, Bill.
Aye?
You're catching him up.
No, he ain't, mate.
Mate,
No
no, listen,
joke.
I've had a bit of a shave up. Look, I'm dropping a bit of weight. So when I drop a bit of weight, I like a little shave down. So I shaved a bit down just I'm going to let it grow back this week, though, you know.
I'll have to do the old Conor Ben, get the old fucking beard transplant thing that he's done to get a full one.
Yeah, well, it's each to their own. If you need to go and do that and you feel that, you know, for your own purpose, it's one of them, you've got to get it done.
Yeah, 100%, mate. What's it been like having Big Tyson come out there and Josh as well today?
It's good because obviously me and Tyson go back since we were kids, and you know, when you have the same conversation when we're like 15-year-old and we're in some championships abroad with England, and we'll be sitting down talking like, yeah, you got the Ukrainian next, I've got this one. We'll be having discussions how we think we should beat them. Because everywhere me and him went, it was always only really me and him when we was on the same team that won gold. Everywhere we went, and we'll always have a good discussion. You know, I think you should do this, I think you should do that, and we still have them now. Do you know what I mean? And it's good to get that, you know, that ooze that confidence, what he brings to the table, and a couple of little things he says that, you know, you'd be daft not to take on board, and vice versa. I mean, when he boxed Wilder, everybody, his dad, Ben Davison, all his team was saying, no, leave it. And he had his mind made up to leave it. So he rang me and I went, stop being so fucking silly, man. I said, fight him. I said, the only thing you can't afford to get done is get it on the chin. If you don't get it on the chin, I said, you'll smash him. And he went, right, that's it, I'm fighting him. Then he rung them all back up and went, no, I'm fighting him now, it's on. And then everyone was ringing me saying, what did you say to him? What have you done this for? And I was saying, look, I've just given my advice. And not saying my advice obviously got him the win and done this, but because I know how good he is.
Yeah.
You know, I know how good he is. You know, to see a man that size to do what he can do and how he can move. Even was running yesterday, me, him and Cam, and I think Cam was a bit shocked how fast he could run.
He was telling us earlier, he said that.
As I was saying to the boys, like one of the first days when he popped up in the gym, me and you were doing our band and stuff, and he goes, nah, low shit. Then he walked off.
Yeah, well.
And then he got in the ring and sparred and absolutely.
But he sparred with no head guard, no this, no that. And he's just very, very, very special.
Yeah, he's a one-off, mate.
I have him around and I've, you know, we've been in each other's lives in the boxing world for years, and we sort of rub off each other, so that's good.
That's brilliant, mate.
Quality, mate.
It's great to see sort of finally getting that recognition as well on the masses as well over here, because for years he didn't, did he? Let's be fair.
Well, listen, like I say, to get that recognition, you have to do great things.
Mm.
And that's what I'm looking to do on May the 8th, because you don't just get that given to you overnight. You have to perform and look like $1 million to get trapped like that. And, you know, what he's done in boxing and to be fair, where AJ's put British boxing and Tyson alone. And that's the reason why it's the biggest fight in British boxing in the last God knows how many years, because of what they're both done for boxing. And I've got to respect AJ as well, you know, and his team have done a brilliant job. And that's a fight I would love to see. I'd love to see it happen, but I don't think it's going to be happening anytime soon.
Do you not? Has he sort of let anything slip? Obviously, there's
I don't really.
you're allowed to say, but
I don't really want to get involved in his boxing business side of it. But you know, there's that when it comes to making fights, you can agree a location and say, right, yeah, that's the site we're going to fight at, you know, and that's where we're going to fight. But you know, where's the Benjamins now? We're fighting here, but what you know, who's getting what split's happening, who's walking out first, it's a load of bollocks.
Politics, yeah.
It's a load of rubbish. It's petty. It's all petty, but you know, it's not like, you know, they're looking for someone to find, I don't know, a couple of million to chuck in the pot. They're looking for hundreds of millions to be chucked in the pot, and that's got to work financially for everyone who's putting that in. You know, because it ain't just like Eddie going, oh, I'm going to chuck that in, or Bob Arum saying, I'm going to chuck that in. You know, it's a lot more than that, and it's big business, and I think it's going to require a lot of time, which I don't think Tyson's going to be sitting around waiting to be out 2 years, then take a fight. He's going to be very active, and he's fighting in July. So whether that's with or without AJ, he will be fighting in July.
Brilliant. That's what I like to hear, mate. And this is one I was going to ask Cam, so I'll ask both of you boys. Obviously, that's not involving yourself, What's your 3 dream fights that you want to see in sort of the next 18 months in boxing?
Good
As
question.
myself, or to what I want to watch.
Yeah, just that you want to watch that don't involve you.
Obviously, it's got to be the AJ Fury.
Mm-hmm.
Crawford and Spence, maybe. That'd be a good fight to watch.
Cool, that's a tough one, isn't it, that?
It's a tough fight. It's one I'll be very interested to see. And probably the Fury AJ rematch.
Love that.
That'll be the 3 fights that I pick.
Not Amir Khan, Kell Brook, no?
No, you know what? I was chatting to Kel the other day, and that fight can be made, and I know that Brook's all up for it. You know, he's very strong.
It's got to be the other side, mate.
Do you know what it is? It's very funny because I know Kell Brook don't want Eddie Hearn involved in the negotiations for the fight, for whatever reason. You know, I can imagine, but he don't want him involved in the in negotiations with the fight, and I think that just got put to a standstill at the minute. But you know, there is a management out there called MTK, what is very strong in the game, and I believe that management team could probably make that fight happen.
Be good to see, mate, because that's been God knows how many years in the making.
See, the problem is with that fight now is that we've both seen the best and the worst of them. And it's sort of still a fight where people are still buying because they think, all right, well, what Kell Brook's going to turn up and what Amir Khan's going to turn up. No, it's still, you get the, your pure boxing fans know that it's probably 3 years past the sell-by date, 2 years, maybe 2.5 years.
Okay,
it should have been for titles, shouldn't it?
Yeah.
Well, it should have been, but listen, in boxing's a funny game, and the worst thing about boxing is when you get to a certain level in boxing, once you get over European level and onto world level, the business side of it, no matter how much you want to fight, overtakes the actual playing field of it because it's just a load of absolute shit. You get these footballers when they do a deal, all contracted, go and play your game, and you contract up, but when you get these boxers, it's always, the contract could be sorted out and then down the road, there's a problem occur. Is it big enough to affect the contract and do you want to cause that much ag or do you want to cause that much ag? It's all a load of shit, mate. The top end of the game is just a load of rubbish. And it's sad to see because we miss so many good fights.
Yeah, no, we 100% do, mate.
Well said.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it better myself. In the sort of, well, obviously we're a football podcast primarily, even though we're doing a boxing one here. How closely do you follow Arsenal, mate?
I go to all the games. I go to all the games when I'm back home.
No,
I go, and guess whose box I go to? Frank Warren's.
Oh, hello.
I got a box now. I go to Frank Warren's box.
Is he a Gooner and all?
He's a Gooner. Yeah, he's got a box there. Yeah, he's a big Gooner fan, mate, Frank.
Don't forget the small people, Bill.
What team of any of you? I bet you're all Chelsea lads, is?
No, I'm Arsenal, Greg's Liverpool, Carl's Man United, and Terry's Leeds.
You're the Arsenal man, Matthew.
Yeah.
You can come to the box when I go there next year. When they play Chelsea, I'll get on the phone to Frank and we'll bring Cam as well. Do you know what I will say though? I will say this though. Since I've been in training camp, I haven't watched any game.
You're lucky.
Well, yeah, you probably would have lost even more weight than you've lost now.
Listen, to be honest with you, I'm here and I don't want to be watching any game, but it is
camp's hard enough as it is.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah, for your mental strength, Bill, just take a deep breath. Yeah.
Are we like 12th at the minute or 13th?
No, I think we're not
10th.
I think
10th.
But yeah.
Four at least. So
I don't want to cause you any more distress by speaking about current form. So no.
Where's Chelsea at the minute?
Fourth, I believe.
Beating Real Madrid.
No, it was a draw.
Was it a draw? Fuck yeah.
Do you play football, Cam?
Used to, mate. Yeah.
Used to, yeah.
Was he like linesman or something?
He's good. He's good.
He kicked the ball the other day. He kicked the ball the other day, and he couldn't walk for 3 days.
You know the thing with him, Bill. Yeah, if he's ever getting on to you about timekeeping or anything like that, he's the worst I've ever seen for it. We used to, half 10,
to be honest with you, he's pretty much he's on the timekeeper. He's done all my spars. Yeah, he's got all the time for the spars. Some of the rounds has been a bit iffy where I'm thinking, like, is it 3 minutes or 6 minutes? But you know what I mean. He's done the job well.
The Casio went.
Tell me this. When he was playing football, was he good in the air? Bam.
I'm not ready to go.
He was good in the
You
air.
sound about Bill going to wind up now. He's playing up to it.
He used to win so many headers. When he first started playing, his hair was out here.
That's when he lost his hair, mate.
It went.
It's
The wind dancing headers.
At the minute, he's got blisters on his hand.
It's a bit windy in Epsom, Bill. You know what I mean? It gets a bit of a sweep when you go up in the air.
Ah, is that what it is? The air down there, yeah, the fresh air.
Yeah, I would say a lot of air going on down there.
Got you. Do Carl live down Epsom, by the way?
I ain't far. It's a bit windier in Croydon.
Oh, you're Croydon. I got you.
Oh, this is too much.
Oh, mate.
Nice
I ain't saying nothing.
Bill, absolute pleasure, mate. Thank you so much.
Appreciate your time, mate. Good luck. Good luck next week.
Oh, good luck, Bill.
Mate.
Thank you for your time.
Fucking hell, Cam.
Mate. See you later, Cam.
All the best, mate. Yeah. Interview hijack.
I now know why he asked the question. He must have been there.
See, listen, you see, Bill, he's always plotting. There's always something in advance of him, so you got to know.
That's class, mate.
On the ball, you always got to be ready.
That probably took.
Why you took your headphones out? Is that why you took them out?
Yeah, because it was solely on through this, and we've got obviously all the other boys in the villa and that as well.
I thought your battery had gone, and I thought, the headphones had just died or something. And
That's what I thought.
That's there.
Legend.
By the way, Cam, I'm holding him to that Frank Warren box effort all day long.
I'm an Arsenal fan.
No.
Yeah, can I be an Arsenal fan for that day? Or...
And email address.
Unbelievable. That's proper throwing me now. Where was I going to go? Oh, yeah. So back on schedule, Cam. The question I just asked Bill were the 3 dream fights. What would yours be? You can obviously throw any of the fighters that you're working with as well in amongst that.
Ooh. Oh, now you put it. I'll say 4 dream fights.
Go on, then.
So the one what Bill said, Joshua and Fury, Spence and Crawford. I'd love Joe to get the time to go and fight Usyk.
Yeah.
And then May the 8th all goes to plan. Billy versus Caleb Plant for the unification for all the belts.
Oh, that'd be a bit nice, wouldn't it?
It'd be the 4 dream fights. Yeah.
They're 4 crackers, mate. The Joyce Usyk one's one that interests me as well because they fought before, didn't they?
Yeah, they fought.
Yeah, the amateurs. Yeah.
But, I was speaking to you in the build-up to the Joyce Dubois one, and I actually fancied Dubois because I didn't think Joyce would be able to walk through him. And you said at the time, you were like, mate, he's
second camp now. This is the second camp, and the first camp, I've been in good camps now before. Everyone's kind of the favourite. Second camp now, I've been a big underdog, but I've seen the work that's gone in, and I don't know how people can write them off so badly compared to the boxing minute and what they've both been through and gone through. But it's easier to sit there and watch a couple of videos and say, I know this person or that person. So I was there, especially last year, because obviously last year ended up being a 10-month training camp. I mean, we were preparing in January and February. Then obviously COVID kicked in for April 11th. Then it got put back to June. Then June got put back again. And then we ended up fighting on November the 28th. And through the whole 10 months, the amount of stuff I see in newspapers, in magazines, on social media, on the comments and things like that, you're going to get stopped. This is going to happen. You're going to retire after. You're going to do this and you're going to do that. And it's quite the opposite.
Yeah, I must admit, he's not someone I'd ever back against now.
Big shout out to Joe as well, Putney boy.
Yeah.
I told everyone, even like a few friends, and I said, nah, no chance. I even won a couple of quid after anyway with a few friends.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was good.
I remember you putting me in my place, mate, when we spoke about it, and it was just like, yeah, fucking fair play.
Right, so that's the sport, and especially with football, there's so many opinions and debates. You know what I mean? So you can always.
But we don't see what you see. Do you know what I mean? It's easy for us outside to sit and say what we think, but you're seeing the work they're putting in. So
yeah, no, absolutely.
So yeah.
Too right, mate. Based on the back of like you obviously working with Joe Joyce, because the guy is a phenomenal athlete as well.
Yeah.
Who's the most naturally gifted athlete that you've worked with? Because he, like, from an outsider looking in, obviously I'm a fucking idiot. I don't know what I'm
Sorry, lads, I need a pit stop. Back in a minute.
No worries, mate. Who's your, like, the sort of most naturally gifted athlete that you ever worked with?
Most naturally gifted, all round.
Yeah, that sort of just it comes the easiest to them.
I'm gonna say, not being biased around him now, but I'm gonna say Billy.
Really?
Yeah, the most talented. And when you see something, or you see a player striking the ball, or how they win challenges, or skill wise, how things come and it looks so smooth and so easy that you don't even have to ask, "Oh, do that again." Do you know what I mean? You just look at it and you just think, wow, like the talent that's there. In terms of boxing, I'd say Billy 100%. In football, it'd have to be Loftus-Cheek.
Really?
Even going through a warm-up and how he just glided over warm-ups and things like that, it was just effortless. And you, for as a coach and that, when you haven't got to say too much about it, say, "Oh no, you need to be doing this and that," you just got to look and you just got to watch and think that talent-wise is incredible.
Sorry, who was that? Sorry,
Matty missed all that. So just because obviously people will be watching, listening, Matty. It was Loftus-Cheek football.
Oh, okay.
And Bill for boxing.
Yeah. Talent-wise and just effortless.
Who's been the hardest work for you to get them into shape? Current company excluded from that, Kyle.
I only went to one session.
Joking.
Sure.
Oh, Kyle had a good run though, didn't you, Kyle? You was down. You come down training for a bit.
I've done a double. On my first night there, I've done a double and couldn't walk for fucking 10 days.
The only double you've done is a JD and Coke, mate. That's the only double.
I'll never forget it. The end of the double session, I'm literally on the floor, struggling to breathe. I can taste claret in my mouth. And Cam was just standing over me, looking at me, going, come on. I'm like, fucking leave me alone.
Do you know what I will say though? Carl, obviously, he gets it done. No matter how he goes about it, he'll still get it done. He'll never. I've got to give him credit for that. He'll never give up or say, "No, I'm not doing that." He'll always want to do well and things like that. But then things.
He's right, Cam.
It goes different ways. He's always been there, isn't he, Carl? He's always you made it through. I mean, like, listen, some of the people that do the double sessions at the gym, like they're going from an S&C session onto a boxing session, like they're hard going. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And to do that for your first time is that's off, mate.
It took us so long to talk him into it, mate. That was the most I enjoyed a double session, was because I was just watching Kyle. I was like, he's hating it. Brilliant.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? That's what we talked to about going back, like playing football with your friends and that, and having them kind of memories. You know what I mean? And what you get from it.
I'll come back one day.
One day.
Bullshit. Yeah, you've been saying that for fucking 5 years. What's the rest of your day looking like, Cam? Anyway, what's the crack plan for the rest of the day?
So we're having a little rest now. We will be back training again in around 2 hours. Yeah. So 5 o'clock we'll be back training, and then we'll ease off in the evening, and then we'll be back in the gym tomorrow morning. Bit of recovery, then we go again.
Decent, mate. And how many days or whatever before the fight do you fly out to Texas?
So currently now it's Tuesday. So we got this week here. We fly out on Saturday evening. We check into the bubble Saturday night, and then we'll be there a week before the fight.
Are you all sort of set up there where you're going to be doing a bit of training and whatever?
Yeah, everything's all set up. I think where it's in a bubble, all the gyms set out, everything's all laid out, all ready for us. We just got to literally check in, do another test 500, and then get through that, and then we're there. Yeah,
decent, mate. Is it full capacity?
65,000 sold out.
Yes. See, that's gonna add something to it as well, because it's been so long, isn't it?
Yeah, unreal.
Well, do you know what? Obviously, you see the UFC last weekend at Jacksonville. They had a live crowd.
15,000, didn't they?
Yeah, and we're speaking to some of the coaches, some of the staff behind the scenes, obviously, where we become friendly and see them day to day. And some of the fighters have been back in getting their rehab work. And the first question was asked was like, how did it feel with a crowd? And they said, you know what, it was it was exciting again. It made it that little bit like
Breaks the game a bit.
do you know what I mean? Yeah, do you know what I mean? It's either a sink or
Well, the adrenaline must flow a little bit more as well.
100%.
The fact that, do you know what I mean?
You've got to imagine walking out to a cup final with no fans. Imagine walking out to a cup final with, do you know what I mean, with a capacity.
What do you mean? We've walked out to plenty of cup finals with no fans. I'm used to it. That's where I thrive under that pressure.
That's it, man. 10 family members sitting.
Yeah.
The man and his dog, bro. That's it.
The other thing is certain, like, back to like with boxing with the fans, certain fighters I think need it. Like, I think Josh Warrington lost out massively going into his fight because he looked flat the whole time, and obviously with that like partisan Leeds crowd that he gets behind him, it's probably the first time he's ever gone in there and it's not fucking bouncing. Like, I don't know if you've been to a Warrington fight, but I've been to quite a few as a fan, and it's mental. So I think that must be like horrible from a fighter that's used to fighting in front of them sort of crowds.
Absolutely. Imagine as well, like obviously fighters, maybe they've only fought once or twice through a pandemic, but then you look at footballers, obviously maybe from the start of it takes some getting used to. But I was having a conversation the other day. Imagine you making your debut for a professional team like your Leeds, like your Arsenal, like your Chelseas and that. You probably couldn't wish for a better way to start your debut, right? And then slowly getting back into it. But imagine you're getting 18, 19, or however old, and you've got 25,000 people. Do you know what I mean? No, listen, no matter how good you are, the nerves and that are going to be there. But then when you haven't got a crowd there, and obviously you can play along your friends and obviously people that you've been working with, it's going to make it a little bit better. So there's pros and obviously there's cons to it. But like you said about the Josh Warrington getting up for a fight, who's usually used to 20,000 Leeds fans screaming his head off and the stadium pumping, how can you get up for it? And that was his first fight in lockdown.
Yeah. And he had like 18 months out as well.
Coming back from injury, yeah. So it'd be interesting to see how he picks himself back up again.
I'm looking forward to that. He's a little beast, that fella he fought, though.
I heard him on the radio the other day. He was on the radio, Josh, and they're going to do it at Headingley.
No, I don't think they are, because the last I saw was Headingley. I think the Leeds Council or something blocked it.
Oh, have they? Well, he was on TalkSport the other day, and he was wanting Headingley. He's pretty sure that the fight will be made, but obviously whether Headingley is the go ahead or not, I don't know. But he reckons the rematch will be made.
It wouldn't surprise me if Leeds United get back on board and get it back at Ellen Road. To be fair, mate, they like now Matchroom have got Josh back as well, and they've got Ebony Bridges, who's got the Leeds link as well. It wouldn't surprise they put her on the undercard as well.
I think she turned a few heads lately, didn't she?
Jesus. Yeah. Both in and out the ring.
Oh, there's Chloe coming up now.
Yeah. It's the most viewing figures ever on a weigh-in, I think. You could see Eddie Hearn as well. He was giving it the old look away.
He's found his mincer again.
It's interesting.
Definitely, mate. But yeah, Cam, that like I don't know if any of the boys have got anything else they want to ask you before we sort of tie it up, mate.
Nah, said it all, mate.
Apart from to say thank you very much for coming.
Yeah.
On. Absolute pleasure.
Yeah.
Anytime.
And
Cam, lovely to talk to you again, mate. Lovely to see you. Take care. Thank you.
Your gym for us as well, mate. Like tell people where they can sort of find you and websites and that.
Yeah, no, listen, you boys are always welcome, like I've always said before, but Peak Performance Training Club up in Chesterton. We'll be back in May time. Obviously, the boys and the girls and that still got things under wraps there, so feel free to get down anytime.
Brilliant. Yeah, I'd recommend it to anyone. It's an unbelievable setup down there as well, boys and girls. So, yeah, if anyone wants to get in shape, get down there and get Cam and his team working with you. But, yeah, Cam, absolutely blinding, mate. You've got all of our support, and send Bill our best as well.
Yeah, best of luck.
Come off and
May the 8th.
Really appreciate it, mate. Make sure everyone who's watching and everyone who's listening on the podcast platforms, rate and review, like and subscribe on the YouTube channel, and make sure you tune in. Get behind one of our own. Billy Joe Saunders is a chance to sort of make history. He wins this fight. It's going to be one of the biggest wins from a British boxer of all time. So get behind him and bring him home, Bill. All the best, guys. Thanks for joining us.
Have a good one. Good night.
Good night, Cam. Take care, mate.